Ladies and gentlemen, life is a battleground of attention. Everywhere you turn, something is vying for your focus. Distractions, temptations, the constant noise of the world. And the truth is, what you choose to focus on shapes the very structure of your mind. If your attention is scattered, your mind weakens. If your focus is sharpened, your mind strengthens. You see, the mind is not a passive thing. It is sculpted by what you give it. Just as a muscle grows stronger through resistance, your mind becomes sharper, more disciplined, and more powerful when you train it to focus. And in a world filled with endless diversions, the ability to focus is not just an advantage, it is a necessity. Tonight, we are going to explore why focus is the key to mental strength, why distraction is your greatest enemy, and how mastering your attention can transform not just your thinking, but your entire life. Because the more you focus, the stronger your mind becomes. What you focus on determines your perception and experience. The human mind is a complex and highly adaptable tool, constantly shaped by the information it absorbs and the thoughts it prioritizes. Every moment, countless stimuli compete for your attention: sensory input, emotions, external distractions, and internal dialogues. Your brain is designed to filter out most of these inputs, allowing you to concentrate on what it deems most important. This ability to focus is not just a cognitive function. It is a fundamental mechanism that shapes how you experience reality itself. Consider for a moment how two people can look at the same situation and interpret it in completely different ways. One person sees opportunity while another sees only obstacles. One person notices beauty and potential while another fixates on flaws and limitations. This difference is not merely a matter of personality or temperament. It is a direct result of where their attention is directed. The human mind does not passively absorb the world. It actively constructs it based on what it chooses to emphasize. Neuroscience has demonstrated that the brain physically changes in response to repeated focus. This process, known as neuroplasticity, means that the pathways you strengthen through concentration become more dominant over time. If you constantly focus on problems, your brain becomes adept at spotting more problems. If you train yourself to focus on solutions, your mind becomes sharper in finding opportunities and overcoming challenges. The structure of your thoughts determines the structure of your brain, and ultimately the structure of your life. People often underestimate the power of selective attention. In a world overflowing with information, your ability to filter and prioritize what matters is one of your greatest assets. Without deliberate focus, the mind becomes cluttered, reactive, and easily manipulated by external forces. Social media, sensationalized news, and the demands of modern life pull attention in 1,000 directions, fragmenting mental energy and weakening the ability to think deeply and critically. When attention is scattered, everything feels overwhelming and progress in any meaningful direction becomes nearly impossible. Focusing on the right things is not just about productivity. It directly impacts emotional and psychological well-being. Studies have shown that individuals who consistently focus on gratitude, personal growth, and long-term goals experience lower levels of stress and higher levels of life satisfaction. Conversely, those who fixate on negativity, distractions, or fleeting pleasures often struggle with anxiety, dissatisfaction, and a sense of aimlessness. Your dominant thoughts shape your emotions, and your emotions, in turn, shape your actions and habits. Even more compelling is the connection between attention and identity. What you repeatedly focus on becomes a core part of who you are. If you constantly dwell on past failures, you begin to see yourself as someone who is destined to fail. If you focus on learning and progress, you start to view yourself as someone capable of growth and success. The stories you tell yourself, the beliefs you reinforce, and the patterns you engage in all stem from where your focus resides. Throughout history, the most disciplined minds have been those that mastered their attention. Great thinkers, artists, and leaders did not allow themselves to be consumed by distractions. They understood that their ability to direct and sustain focus determined the impact they could have on the world. In contrast, those who drift through life without deliberate focus often feel lost, as though life is happening to them rather than being something they actively shape. Your focus determines your trajectory. If you concentrate on meaningful pursuits, you build momentum towards something greater. If you allow your attention to be hijacked by trivialities, your life becomes a series of reactions rather than intentional steps forward. Developing control over your focus is not just about achieving success in a conventional sense. It is about taking command of your mind, your perspective, and ultimately, your reality. Distraction is one of the most insidious forces working against the human mind. It weakens the ability to think deeply, disrupts clarity, and diminishes the capacity for sustained effort. In a world filled with endless stimuli, from social media notifications to news cycles designed to provoke emotional reactions, the mind is constantly being pulled in different directions. Now, the more fragmented attention becomes, the harder it is to engage in meaningful thought, solve complex problems, or make decisions that align with long-term goals. The mind was never designed to multitask the way modern life demands. While people often pride themselves on the ability to juggle multiple tasks at once, research has shown that the human brain is not capable of true multitasking. Instead, it rapidly switches between tasks, creating the illusion of productivity while actually increasing cognitive load and reducing efficiency. Each time focus shifts, the brain must reorient itself, a process that drains mental energy and leads to decreased performance. Over time, this constant switching weakens the mind's ability to concentrate for extended periods, making deep work more difficult and exhausting. Distraction also interferes with memory and learning. When attention is divided, the brain struggles to encode information properly. This is why people often find themselves reading the same paragraph multiple times without absorbing its meaning or forgetting details of conversations they only half listened to. The ability to retain information is directly linked to the level of focus applied when it is first encountered. When attention is constantly interrupted, learning suffers and knowledge becomes fragmented rather than deeply understood. Beyond the cognitive impact, distraction erodes self-discipline and mental resilience. When the mind becomes accustomed to frequent interruptions, it begins to crave them. The instant gratification provided by quick distractions, such as checking a phone or browsing social media, creates a dopamine-driven feedback loop that reinforces impulsive behavior. Over time, this rewires the brain to seek constant stimulation, making it increasingly difficult to engage in sustained effort or tolerate boredom. The ability to sit with discomfort, push through challenges, and remain committed to a task diminishes, leading to a weakened sense of personal control. Distraction is not just an external force. It is also internal. Negative thought patterns, self-doubt, and emotional turbulence can be just as disruptive as external interruptions. When the mind is filled with worry, fear, or frustration, it struggles to maintain focus on the task at hand. Internal distractions can be even more damaging because they are harder to recognize and control. A mind that is constantly preoccupied with past regrets or future anxieties loses the ability to engage fully in the present moment. This state of mental fragmentation leads to decreased performance, increased stress, and a persistent feeling of being overwhelmed. The modern world exacerbates this problem by bombarding individuals with information at an unprecedented rate. Attention is treated as a commodity, and countless businesses profit from hijacking focus through algorithms designed to exploit psychological vulnerabilities. Social media platforms, entertainment industries, and even news outlets compete for attention by triggering emotional responses that keep people engaged. The result is a society where mental energy is drained not by meaningful work or deep thinking, but by an endless stream of distractions that provide temporary stimulation while eroding long-term cognitive strength. People often underestimate the cumulative impact of small distractions. A single interruption may seem insignificant, but over time, these moments add up. Studies have shown that it can take over 20 minutes to regain full focus after being interrupted. This means that even brief distractions can derail productivity for extended periods. When distractions become a habit, they prevent the development of sustained concentration, making even simple tasks feel mentally exhausting. The ability to engage in deep work, solve complex problems, and think creatively is directly tied to how well distractions are managed. Now, distraction also affects emotional well-being. A mind that is constantly pulled in different directions struggles to find peace. There is a direct link between fragmented attention and increased anxiety, as the inability to focus creates a sense of being overwhelmed and out of control. When the mind is trained to be constantly stimulated, moments of stillness can feel uncomfortable, leading to restlessness and dissatisfaction. Without the ability to concentrate, people often find themselves feeling disconnected as their thoughts remain scattered and unfocused. Discipline is the foundation of focus, and focus is the foundation of a strong mind. The ability to direct attention intentionally without being swayed by impulses or distractions is a skill that must be cultivated through consistent effort. Many people believe that focus is something innate, that some individuals are naturally better at concentrating than others. But this is a misconception. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it must be trained and strengthened through discipline. Without discipline, the mind becomes weak, reactive, and easily manipulated by external forces. Training the mind to resist distraction requires conscious effort. In the modern world, where instant gratification is prioritized over long-term rewards, discipline is often overlooked. People seek shortcuts, quick fixes, and immediate pleasure, but these habits weaken the ability to concentrate. When the mind is accustomed to constant stimulation, it struggles to remain engaged with tasks that require sustained effort. This is why so many individuals find it difficult to read a book, study deeply, or work on a project without feeling the urge to check their phones or seek some other form of quick entertainment. The modern environment encourages distraction, but it is discipline that allows individuals to reclaim control over their attention. Discipline begins with small decisions. Choosing to resist the urge to check social media, to stay focused on a task despite boredom, to push through mental fatigue. These are all moments where discipline is either strengthened or weakened. Each time a person chooses focus over distraction, they reinforce the neural pathways associated with concentration, making it easier to focus in the future. Conversely, every time they give in to distraction, they reinforce impulsivity, making it harder to sustain focus over time. These small choices compound, shaping the overall strength of the mind. One of the greatest challenges in developing discipline is overcoming resistance. The mind naturally seeks comfort and avoids discomfort, which is why difficult tasks often feel overwhelming. However, growth occurs precisely in those moments of discomfort. When an individual forces themselves to stay engaged with a challenging task, they expand their mental endurance. Over time, what once seemed difficult becomes manageable, and what once felt impossible becomes routine. This is the essence of discipline, pushing beyond what is comfortable in order to strengthen the mind's capacity for focus. Mental discipline is closely tied to emotional control. When emotions dictate attention, focus becomes erratic. Fear, frustration, excitement, and boredom can all pull the mind away from what truly matters. Developing discipline means learning to regulate these emotional impulses, ensuring that attention remains directed toward meaningful goals rather than being hijacked by temporary feelings. This is not to say that emotions should be ignored, but rather that they should not be allowed to dictate behavior. A disciplined mind acknowledges emotions without allowing them to interfere with focus. Another key aspect of discipline is delaying gratification. Many of the world's most successful individuals attribute their achievements to the ability to resist short-term pleasure in favor of long-term rewards. The ability to say no to immediate temptations, whether it be procrastination, indulgence, or entertainment, frees up mental energy for deeper, more meaningful work. This principle applies to every area of life, from academics to personal development to professional success. Those who master the art of delayed gratification develop a level of focus that allows them to achieve far more than those who constantly seek immediate pleasure. Developing discipline requires structure. The mind thrives on routine, and having a set schedule eliminates the need to constantly make decisions about when and how to focus. This is why some of the most disciplined individuals follow strict routines. They remove the element of choice, making focus an automatic habit rather than a daily struggle. Without structure, the mind is more likely to wander, searching for the path of least resistance rather than committing to deep work. A disciplined mind is a powerful mind. It is capable of sustained attention, deep concentration, and meaningful thought. It does not give in to distractions easily, nor does it allow external forces to dictate its direction. Instead, it remains firmly in control, able to direct focus toward what truly matters. The process of developing discipline is not easy, but it is essential for anyone seeking to strengthen their mind. Deep work is the foundation of mastery and success. In a world that constantly demands attention, the ability to engage in focused, uninterrupted work is increasingly rare. Yet, it is precisely this ability that separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain stagnant. Deep work is not just about working hard, it is about working with full concentration, eliminating distractions, and immersing oneself so completely in a task that time seems to disappear. This level of engagement allows for breakthroughs in thinking, problem solving, and skill development that are impossible to achieve through shallow, fragmented work. The human brain operates at different levels of depth. Most people spend their time in a state of shallow focus, switching between tasks, reacting to notifications, and engaging in surface-level thinking. This fragmented approach to work weakens cognitive function, making it harder to retain information, think critically, and generate original ideas. In contrast, deep work strengthens neural connections, improves memory, and enhances problem-solving abilities. The more time spent in deep concentration, the more the brain adapts to sustained effort, increasing its capacity for complex thought. Engaging in deep work requires creating an environment conducive to focus. The modern world is designed to pull attention in 1,000 different directions, making it difficult to sustain concentration for long periods. The first step in mastering deep work is eliminating distractions. This means turning off notifications, setting specific times for checking emails and messages, and creating physical spaces that minimize interruptions. The mind thrives in structured environments, and by reducing external distractions, it becomes easier to maintain focus. Another key element of deep work is setting clear intentions. The mind needs direction to engage fully in a task. Vague or undefined goals make it easier to drift into distraction. When beginning a deep work session, it is essential to define exactly what needs to be accomplished and establish a clear plan of execution. This not only improves efficiency, but also increases motivation as the brain understands the purpose behind the effort. Without clear goals, attention becomes scattered, making it harder to sustain concentration. Deep work also requires training the brain to tolerate boredom. Many people struggle with focus because they have conditioned themselves to seek constant stimulation. The habit of checking phones, scrolling through social media, or seeking entertainment at the slightest hint of boredom weakens the ability to engage in sustained concentration. Training the mind to sit with discomfort, to push through moments of mental fatigue, and to resist the urge for immediate distraction builds cognitive endurance. Over time, the ability to stay focused for longer periods increases, allowing for more productive and meaningful work. The process of deep work is not just about avoiding distractions. It is about fully immersing in the task at hand. This level of focus leads to a state known as a flow, where the mind operates at peak efficiency. In this state, work becomes effortless, creativity flourishes, and time seems to slow down. Athletes, artists, and top performers across all fields describe this experience as one of the most rewarding aspects of their work. Achieving flow requires intense concentration, but it also leads to a sense of fulfillment and purpose that shallow work can never provide. One of the most powerful benefits of deep work is its impact on learning and skill development. The brain is designed to adapt and grow through focused effort. When engaging in deep concentration, neural pathways strengthen, making it easier to absorb new information and refine complex skills. This is why those who commit to deep work excel in their fields. They are able to learn faster, think more clearly, and produce higher quality work. The difference between those who achieve mastery and those who remain average is often the amount of time spent in deep, undistracted effort. Developing the habit of deep work requires discipline and consistency. The mind must be trained to enter a state of deep focus, and this only happens through repeated practice. Setting aside dedicated time for deep work each day, establishing routines that reinforce focus, and gradually increasing the duration of concentrated effort all contribute to strengthening this ability. The more the brain is exposed to deep work, the easier it becomes to enter that state on command. Mental clarity is one of the most powerful assets a person can possess. A mind that is clear, focused, and free from unnecessary clutter is a mind that can make better decisions, navigate challenges with confidence, and maintain a sense of direction in an otherwise chaotic world. Clarity is not something that happens by accident. It is cultivated through intentional focus, self-awareness, and the ability to filter out distractions that cloud judgment. Without mental clarity, decision-making becomes reactive rather than strategic, and life begins to feel overwhelming rather than purposeful. One of the biggest obstacles to mental clarity is excessive noise. The modern world bombards individuals with an endless stream of information, much of which is irrelevant, misleading, or emotionally draining. Social media, sensationalized news, and the constant influx of opinions from others create a mental environment filled with unnecessary clutter. When the mind is overloaded with too much input, it struggles to process information effectively, leading to confusion, anxiety, and indecision. The ability to filter out what truly matters is essential for maintaining clarity. Mental clarity begins with focus. The more scattered attention becomes, the harder it is to think clearly. When the mind is trained to concentrate on one thing at a time, it becomes easier to process information, recognize patterns, and make decisions with confidence. In contrast, when attention is divided across multiple tasks, thoughts become fragmented, and it becomes difficult to maintain a coherent sense of direction. Learning to focus deeply on what truly matters strengthens cognitive function and allows for greater mental clarity. Clarity is also directly linked to self-awareness. Many people struggle with uncertainty because they lack a deep understanding of their own values, priorities, and goals. When a person is unclear about what they want, they become easily swayed by external influences, leading to indecision and self-doubt. Developing self-awareness requires taking time to reflect, question assumptions, and align actions with core values. The more a person understands themselves, the easier it becomes to make decisions that feel right, rather than simply reacting to external pressures. Another factor that impacts mental clarity is emotional regulation. Emotions are powerful and can often cloud judgment if not managed properly. When decisions are driven by fear, anger, or frustration, they tend to be impulsive rather than well thought out. Learning to recognize and regulate emotions allows for clearer thinking and better decision-making. This does not mean suppressing emotions, but rather developing the ability to observe them without allowing them to take control. A clear mind remains steady in the face of emotional turbulence, making it easier to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Now, the physical state of the body also plays a crucial role in mental clarity. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise all have a direct impact on cognitive function. A tired mind struggles to concentrate, a poorly nourished brain lacks the energy for deep thinking, and a sedentary lifestyle leads to sluggishness and mental fog. Taking care of the body is one of the most effective ways to enhance mental clarity. Proper rest allows the brain to process and organize information, while movement stimulates cognitive function and improves mood. A healthy body supports a sharp and focused mind. Mental clarity also requires eliminating unnecessary complexity. Many people create confusion in their own lives by overcomplicating things, overanalyzing situations, second-guessing decisions, or trying to control things beyond their influence. Simplification is a powerful tool for maintaining clarity. When unnecessary complications are removed, it becomes easier to focus on what truly matters. Clarity is not about having all the answers, but about knowing what is essential and letting go of what is not. Another important aspect of mental clarity is maintaining a sense of purpose. So, when a person has a clear sense of direction, decisions become easier, motivation increases, and confidence grows. Without a clear purpose, it is easy to drift aimlessly, constantly questioning whether the path being followed is the right one. Purpose provides a guiding framework that helps filter out distractions and keeps the mind focused on meaningful goals. The more aligned a person's actions are with their purpose, the clearer their thinking becomes. Resilience is one of the most important qualities that determine a person's ability to maintain focus and mental strength over time. It is the capacity to endure challenges, setbacks, and difficulties without losing sight of long-term goals. In a world filled with distractions, failures, and obstacles, resilience is what allows individuals to keep moving forward even when circumstances become difficult. Without resilience, focus is easily broken, and the mind becomes weak under pressure. Developing mental resilience is essential for anyone who seeks to strengthen their focus and achieve meaningful success. Resilience begins with the ability to tolerate discomfort. Many people struggle to maintain focus because they avoid discomfort at all costs. Whether it is physical discomfort, emotional pain, or the mental strain of deep concentration, the tendency to seek comfort weakens resilience. The reality is that growth often requires discomfort. Those who are willing to endure temporary difficulty in order to achieve long-term success develop a level of mental toughness that allows them to sustain focus even under pressure. When a person embraces discomfort as part of the process, they become stronger, more disciplined, and more capable of maintaining attention on what truly matters. Another key aspect of resilience is learning how to manage stress effectively. Stress is an unavoidable part of life, and those who cannot regulate their response to stress often find their focus shattered by minor setbacks. The ability to stay composed in the face of adversity is what separates those who succeed from those who give up too soon. Resilient individuals understand that stress is not an enemy, but a signal that something needs to be addressed. Instead of allowing stress to overwhelm them, they use it as motivation to refine their strategies, adjust their approach, and continue forward with renewed determination. Resilience is also built through consistent effort over time. Many people lose focus because they expect immediate results. When progress is slow, they become discouraged and give up before reaching their goals. However, true success is often the result of sustained effort over long periods. Those who are resilient understand that setbacks are not failures, but part of the process. They do not let temporary difficulties define them or derail their focus. Instead, they push forward, knowing that persistence is the key to mastery. The more a person practices resilience, the easier it becomes to stay focused despite challenges. One of the greatest threats to resilience is negative self-talk. When individuals constantly criticize themselves, doubt their abilities, or dwell on past mistakes, their mental strength weakens. A resilient mind does not waste energy on self-defeating thoughts. Instead, it reframes challenges as opportunities for growth and views failures as lessons rather than personal shortcomings. Developing resilience requires learning how to control internal dialogue, replacing self-doubt with constructive thinking. Those who master this skill find it much easier to maintain focus because their minds are not weighed down by unnecessary negativity. Resilience is also closely tied to adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances often change in ways that are beyond control. Those who lack resilience struggle when faced with unexpected difficulties because they resist change rather than adapting to it. A strong mind is flexible. It does not break under pressure, but adjusts to new situations while maintaining focus on long-term goals. Resilient individuals do not allow obstacles to become excuses for inaction. Instead, they find alternative ways to move forward, shifting their strategies when necessary while remaining committed to their purpose. Developing resilience requires a strong sense of purpose. When individuals have a clear understanding of why they are pursuing a goal, they are less likely to be discouraged by temporary difficulties. Purpose provides the motivation needed to endure challenges, allowing individuals to remain focused, even when progress is slow. Without purpose, setbacks feel meaningless and overwhelming. But when a goal is deeply meaningful, difficulties become easier to bear because they are seen as necessary steps toward a greater achievement. The stronger the sense of purpose, the greater the ability to remain resilient in the face of adversity. Another important factor in building resilience is surrounding oneself with the right influences. The people and environments individuals expose themselves to have a profound impact on mental strength. Those who are constantly surrounded by negativity, doubt, or discouragement often struggle to maintain resilience. On the other hand, those who engage with supportive, driven, and disciplined individuals find it easier to stay focused and push through challenges. The mind absorbs the energy of its surroundings, and building resilience often requires consciously choosing environments that reinforce strength, focus, and determination.